The Armenian National Committee of America, or ANCA, describes itself as the largest and most influential Armenian-American grassroots advocacy organization in the United States. But as Armenia moves toward peace with Azerbaijan, its lobbying has raised a sharper question. Is ANCA supporting Armenia's future, or the forces resisting normalization? One of its most visible voices, Policy Director Alex Galitsky, has repeatedly criticized the August 8th Washington documents, portraying them as rewarding Baku and undermining Armenian interests. Yet the Washington track was negotiated by both Yerevan and Baku and presented as a step toward ending decades of conflict, opening transport links and stabilizing the South Caucasus. Organization has also opposed continued US waivers of Section 907, allowing military assistance to Azerbaijan, and criticized Washington-brokered talks with Baku. Together, these positions place ANCA not only against Pashinyan's peace agenda, but also against key elements of Washington's South Caucasus policy. The same pattern is visible in Armenia's domestic politics. ANCA's messaging increasingly overlaps with forces opposed to Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan's course, particularly around Russian-Armenian businessman Samvel Karapetyan. After Karapetyan was detained in Yerevan, following his support for the Armenian Apostolic Church, ANCA Executive Director Aram Hamparian publicly defended him as one of Armenia's major philanthropists, employers, and taxpayers. Karapetyan's name has also appeared in allegations surrounding Luis Moreno Ocampo's anti-Azerbaijan campaign. According to leaked recording materials, Russian-Armenian financial circles, including Karapetyan, helped fund Ocampo's advocacy, while money from Armenians living in Russia reportedly financed social media operations, diaspora mobilization, and pressure on Western media and politicians. Armenian lobbying networks in the United States, including those linked to ANCA, were also mentioned in this context. The allegations do not prove coordination, but they place ANCA's defense of Karapetyan inside a wider ecosystem of Russian-linked money, diaspora lobbying, anti-Azerbaijan messaging, and resistance to normalization. That context revives an older concern about Moscow's use of Armenian diaspora networks. Cold War-era material from the Mitrokhin archive shows that Soviet intelligence cultivated Armenian communities abroad, including in the United States, and treated diaspora structures as channels for recruitment, intelligence gathering, and political messaging. This does not prove a direct link to today's ANCA, but it shows that Armenian diaspora networks were historically viewed by Moscow as a field of influence. ANCA's alignment with anti-Pashinyan forces has also extended to the Armenian Apostolic Church, now a major center of opposition to the government. Leaked documents and audio recordings published by local media allege coordination between church figures and former officials to remove Pashinyan and derail the peace process. Against this backdrop, ANCA and affiliated activists framed government actions against church figures as political persecution. ANCA's regional messaging on Iran has raised similar questions. During the escalation involving Iran, Israel, and the United States, Galitsky described Iran as Armenia's neighbor and ally, and said it was being bombed indiscriminately by US-Israeli forces. For critics, that framing placed ANCA closer to the Russia-Iran axis than to Armenia's Western-backed normalization course. The question now is whether one of America's most powerful Armenian lobbying groups is using its influence to help Armenia move toward peace and independence, or to preserve the old order of conflict, dependency, and Russian-Iranian leverage in the South Caucasus.